Hey, we are lucky enough to be standing here with another California legend, a man who has been WEC champion, fought in the UFC so many times, but it's everything you've done besides your fighting career that I am so impressed with. All of your business ventures, everything, the way you run your gym, all of that stuff. Urijah, you're a winner, brother. Thank you for talking to us.
You got it.
You had Chris Gonzalez fighting here tonight.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what it's like to work with someone like Chris, because sometimes, fighters get these ideas that they know everything and you don't as the coach, and they can go out and do anything, but he's really making improvements. His fight tonight was fantastic.
Yeah, Chris has been with us for a long time, and I feel like he's really hitting his stride. For a young guy, he's had a lot of miles on him as a Greco-Roman wrestler at the Olympic Training Center, and having to make a living where he gets his fight career going and everything else. And now he's in a place where he can commit fully to it. He's listening to the people around him, and he's in a really great headspace to go for a title run, in my opinion.
When you look at tonight, right? So Bellator making their debut on CBS, but you and I were kind of part of that era too when the UFC went to Fox. What did you notice tonight, and from the UFC Fox days, it felt kind of similar or did not feel similar? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing I loved to see was how the legends came out. You saw who's who of faces in the crowd that just, when you think of MMA, you think of these guys. The crowd was electric. The caliber of fights was incredible. It felt like a big event. And for CBS to take on mixed martial arts and showcase it, that means a lot for us as the sport, just like it did when Fox was jumping on board, and when we went to ESPN with the UFC. It's just progressing, and it, for a real staple in the sport and a legend, and another one here, and someone who came shortly after but is old AF. It's really cool to see it continue to progress,
Isn't it crazy though when you see like the sport grow and where it's come from? I mean, remember like Tachi Palace fights?
Yeah.
I
had a fight there yesterday. We went
back
there,
I was
celebrating.
going to say, he was just at Tachi Palace.
I had my own A1 combat there yesterday.
like Calusa Casino,
Yes.
like those type of events, King of the Cage way back. I mean, we used to travel and just people would just show up, we try to sneak into the fights.
Yeah.
And it's come such a long way. I mean, like, we attribute a lot of that growth to guys like you.
Yeah.
You brought a good image to it. The California kid, always coming out to the same song, the headband, the dancing, all that stuff. I mean, you're really a big reason why this sport has got off the ground.
Well, I appreciate it, and I mean, we have been lucky enough to be part of the history of this sport. And I talked to you about how motivating it was to watch your fight with Clay Guida. I was just coming up, and I was about to have a big fight, and watching these guys go at it was motivating. Big John, big fan, and the way he's treated the fighters and stayed in the sport for so long and fought for the credibility of the sport has been awesome. It's been teamwork, and it really is now on a global stage. It's at a stage where people understand the sport, people know the sport, and so I'm happy that I got to be a part of it. People always say, oh, the money now versus the money then. Yeah. We got to taste a little bit of that towards the end, but more importantly, we got the journey. We got the journey, and we understand the sport, and we're intelligent guys. We had a good business talk.
We're lucky.
We're lucky to have been able to transfer the same work ethic and mentality and learn about other things to go on. But being there for those amazing parts of the sport where it's part of history is priceless.
You were always such what I call the complete competitor, and I go back to some of your fights that you had in the WEC where you had the fight with Aldo. I don't know how you continued on in that fight. You showed such toughness throughout it, and you had a career. I thought I did your retirement fight, which was supposed to be your retirement fight, and then you came back. But now that you've been out of the actual fighting aspect, what is it that you're doing that takes that competition part? I know you've got your promotion now. What is it that you're putting all that energy into that you used to put into fighting?
Man, to be really honest, I talked about it earlier, is I'm all in on the dad life. And it's motivated me and made me prioritize my time and efforts, because I'm a guy that bites off a little more than he can chew and has a lot of irons in the fire, and so it really makes you realize, like, okay, where am I spending my time? What's got the best chance of survival when it comes to business? How do I generate passive income so I can spend all my time developing my kids and the group of guys that I have at my gym and on my team? And so it's been fun to do the things that are allowing me to chase my passion, which is being a dad.
My one last question is, out of alpha male, who's the guy that no one really knows about that you say, this is the guy you need to watch?
Man, I've got quite a few of those. There's a couple guys that have been showing up. There's a whole push, and you guys have probably seen it, of the seeking asylum guys from all over the world. We're going Chechnya, Azerbaijan, Ukraine, Russia, Afghanistan. We're getting a flood of these talented guys throughout, and so I'm seeing more and more guys. There's one young guy, 19-year-old, has had 0 fights, Saifullah, and he goes with anywhere from 35 to 205 pounders. He's about 140, probably a 45 pounder, and I'm like, where did this kid come from?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm starting to see guys like that. So Saifullah's one. I've got a guy that had kind of a bad contender series fight that is, in my opinion, going to really shine in this next year, Cleo Romero. A guy that just won last night, Joseph Morales. I've got Amar. We've got, the list goes on. I mean, I can go on all night, but the exciting part for me is the age. Isaac Thompson, he also fought last night. He's 20 years old from Australia. Had a big win last night. Frosty Cortez, Eric Cortez, he's 15. I brought him on my combat jiu-jitsu team, and he's in there 5 practices a day on home studies. Going to be a killer. The future is coming. It's going to be scary.
I tell people all the time, you have no idea what's out there right now.
My final question, though, is give me a final recap on what you thought of the night tonight.
Man, I loved it. You know, what I loved was you saw somebody's career, heart, demeanor, and, you know, a quiet guy in Fedor Emelianenko in defeat being celebrated by his former foes and peers and people that don't speak the same language as him, and we're at a world kind of crisis when it comes to what's going on out there. But people came together as a family for mixed martial arts to celebrate a legend in Fedor Emelianenko, and you know, really passing the torch. Bader's been around a long time, and showcased, you know, the new era and sent a legend off, and I love to see that.
All right, guys, there you have it, man. Urijah Faber here.